For fans of the SH Figuarts line, specifically for Super Sentai, it looks like we have yet another member coming to the collection. That's right, Sentai Figuarts kind of seem to be back. Not really in like full swing, we're not getting like full team announcements or anything, but ever since the announcement back in October of the Zenkaiser Figuarts, we've now seen at least 2 more. I never talked about Don Momotaro being announced a couple months ago, but he was announced for the current Sentai series to be getting a figure art, and just this past weekend, we got to take a look at Twokaiser coming to the line. But not only that, we have some Power Ranger stuff to talk about, a couple days old stuff from San Diego Comic-Con, or what will be sold at San Diego Comic-Con, in relation to 2 different comic crossovers getting some merchandise. So let's kind of catch up on some of the news here, talk about some figure arts and some comic merchandise here on Toku Talks. So first up, Twokaiser. So this was kind of an unexpected figure arts drop over the past weekend. I think Tamashii Nations is going on right now. I gotta be honest, personally, I don't collect figure arts that often. I think that they are very expensive, and I get why. They're very pretty figures, they're extremely detailed, and I know a lot of people are big fans of these and have wanted Sentai ones in particular to return for many, many years. And I know a lot of fans are big fans of the Kamen Rider ones, which Kamen Rider Revice I thought had a pretty good showing. They showed off Kamen Rider Aguilera, they showed off the Vice Bike Terraform, which I don't think that's ever going to get a release, to be honest. That's kind of a classic thing about Tamashii Nations, is they show off all these different stuff that never gets released. Twokaiser actually could be in that camp, but to be honest, the thing I was most excited for at this event was the full reveal of the Forger family from Spy Family. I'm a huge Spy Family anime fan, so I'm going to be picking up all 3 of those, but that's not Tokusatsu related really at all, so we got to talk about Twokaiser here because I'm kind of tempted, not gonna lie. I think it looks fantastic in figure arts form. I mean, I love this suit so much. Zox is one of my all-time favorite Sentai characters. He rose up that rank, like, extremely quickly. He's become one of my all-time favorite Six Rangers, and Tokusatsu characters really in general. I love his interactions with Captain Marvelous, and I kind of want this figure art, to be honest. Unfortunately, we don't have any confirmed release details for Twokaiser yet in the figure arts form. We just have a couple pictures of it that are display only, which is kind of one of the worst things to see about a figure art on display, because sometimes display only can mean never getting a release after being shown off 10 plus years ago, looking at you, SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Saga, or it can just show up at the next show or be announced randomly online to be available for purchase. It's kind of a 50-50. I think Twokaiser probably has a good chance because there has been many years since we've had a Sentai figure art shown off that just didn't get released. Kind of. I'll get to that in a second. But also, if you guys never saw my Sentai figure art video that I did back in October when Zenkaiser was announced, I did kind of a big comprehensive list of every figure art that was released for the Sentai line and every figure art that was shown off but never released in the Sentai line. And technically we have one of those right now because if you remember back in October, we had that first reveal of Zenkaiser and we had a picture of him standing next to what clearly, at least from what we could all tell, looked like some kind of upgraded version of the original Gokai Red figure art that came out 10 plus years ago. It definitely looked a lot different from the original version. It definitely looked like a more updated, more detailed, kind of modern era type, figure art figure, and we never got an announcement for that kind of thing, so maybe Twokaiser could actually get released and maybe bring this new Gokai Red along with them, or maybe this new Gokai Red is just fated to be some kind of weird prototype in a picture that they didn't really focus on and never do anything with ever. It could happen. But with the announcement of Don Momotaro a couple months ago, who is a general release coming out later on this fall, and Twokaiser being at least shown off, I think Sentai figure arts are kind of on their way back in. I think Bandai is a little less hesitant to actually make some now. I still don't think we're going to get like full teams. I'm not expecting us to get like Juron, Gowon, Varun, and Majin, or even like Saru brother, Inu brother, and Oni sister, and Kiji brother and stuff. I think our best chances at this point is we could get maybe Stay Caesar. He's a very popular character who's gotten a lot of premium Bandai merchandise. I could potentially see Twokaiser being a retail release, although it would not surprise me at all if he's a web exclusive figure art. But maybe he could be a retail, and then maybe like Stay Caesar could be a premium version or something like that. I think Zenkaiser Black, if we're going to get another one from Don Brothers, is pretty likely because all you have to do is just repaint the recently released Zenkaiser, and that can't be too difficult for them to do, although that would probably almost certainly be some sort of online web exclusive because that's just kind of what figure art repaints do. Now, the only other one from Don Brothers I could see potentially could be Don Dragoku, since he is kind of the new 6th Ranger, maybe kind of have him be some sort of promotional thing to be released around the same time as Twokaiser or something like that, or maybe we just never get any more Sentai Figuarts released, ever. I think Zenkaiser's sold pretty well. Don Momotaro's seemed to be pretty popular when it went up for pre-order a couple weeks ago, so I don't see why Twokaiser wouldn't get released, and I don't exactly see why they wouldn't do Space Caesar or Don Dragoku or Zenkaiser Black or really anybody, but I guess time's gonna tell if we're gonna get more Sentai Figuarts, if they're gonna release that Gokai Red version, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts about this figure art down in the comments below. Are you going to pick it up if it gets released? Did you pick up Zenkaiser? And if you did, what do you think of it? And are you picking up Don Momotaro because you want to support the Sentai Figuarts? And then moving over to Power Rangers, we actually have some San Diego Comic-Con exclusive stuff to talk about. Nothing like Lightning Collection or anything like that, although I am expecting there to be something in that kind of realm from Hasbro, because we do know that Hasbro is actually going to be attending San Diego Comic-Con this July, which is happening from July 21st through July 24th, so it's only about a month away, which is exciting and also a little terrifying, because I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to cover in-person events here on Lightning Storm and stuff like that on the channel, because I've never really had to do that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But we have a couple of comic-related merchandise pieces, not exactly from Hasbro, but of course Hasbro had to license them out, and some of these were all announced last week essentially, but I never talked about them, and I kind of want to share my thoughts about them and what you guys think. So first of all, Funko Pops. So I don't think we've had a Power Rangers Funko Pop since 2018, when we got kind of a whole new batch of them to celebrate the 25th anniversary. I think the last one we got was the Lord Draken one, which is a really cool one. I actually have that one. I have a couple, I actually have a pretty good amount of the Power Rangers Funko Pops. I used to be a big Funko Pop collector. I still have all my Funko Pops, just none of them are here, but I collected like well over 100 of them. I used to get a ton of Marvel ones, Walking Dead ones, and the Power Rangers ones, but I kind of just got out of it here, although I am a little tempted by these, I'm not gonna lie, and they are the Morphed Leonardo and Morphed Donatello from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Rangers crossover series. So these are kind of similar in the same kind of vein as the Lightning Collection crossover ones we got last year. It's just really cool to get all this merchandise from that comic series. I mean, Lightning Collection figures are exactly what I would have wanted from that series, so I've got everything I need from that comic crossover. But these are really cool, and I know a lot of people, both on the Ninja Turtles fandom and the Power Rangers fandom, and of course the Funko collectors, are going to be interested in these as well. Unfortunately, we only have Leo and Donnie. We don't have like Mikey or April or Raph or Shredder, which I know would be a pretty popular one. Although I'd not be surprised if we get more of these at some point, maybe next year at convention or exclusives or something like that, because I just don't see them not finishing this set. And really, my only gripe with them is the fact that they don't have their helmets on. They're just unhelmeted with the suits, which is still fine, but I think that it would have been kind of cool, especially since the head is such a big focal point of a Funko Pop, if it would have been the Power Ranger helmets. But, it still looks good, and these are going to be sold at San Diego Comic-Con, but I believe you're going to be able to get them online from Toy Tokyo for the Leonardo one, and a Funko Web Shop exclusive for the Donatello one. And then from the company Monogram International, they are actually going to be doing a special little, I think they're vinyl figure set of the current ongoing Godzilla vs. Power Rangers comic crossover series, which is still going on. I think it wraps up here in August or something, but it's just this really cool looking 4-pack. And this I actually do really want. They're actually these little bag clips of Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Red Ranger, and the Dragon Zord. So I'm not exactly sure how big these are. I think they're just these tiny little bag clip, plastic figures, vinyl-ish kind of figures. But I really like these a lot. There's only going to be 500 of this set, and it's going to be $30 at the convention. I think you can only get this one at the convention. I'm not sure if there's going to be other online versions of this or, being sold afterward. Maybe if there's some leftovers afterward, maybe I would try to pick it up. I'm not going to try to spend a ton of money on this. If I can maybe get it close to $30 or I find it somewhere around that, I actually might pick it up just for the novelty of it. Getting some kind of merchandise from that comic crossover, I think is pretty neat. But if I don't ever get it, it's not the end of the world. But it is a pretty cool thing that we're getting, especially while the comic crossover is still ongoing, because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pops are, of course, 2 years after the comic crossover, which, is still, relevant. I know people still, of course, love that comic crossover and want merchandise from it, but it's just kind of nice to see the timing on this one really work out for those who are currently reading this comic series. And with that, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about here today. Just wanted to show off the Twokaiser Figuarts, show off all these comic-related SDCC exclusives, and kind of share my thoughts about them and get them out there to the world. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on anything I talked about here today. Are you going to pick up any of this stuff? Are you going to pick up all of this stuff? Or none of this stuff? I'd just like to hear what you guys have to say about it. And of course, until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or LineFigPR, and I'll see you all next time.